Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how often people say get in English? I mean, seriously. We get tired, we get pizza, we get better, we get going, we get caught in the rain, and we get used to the cold. Well, some of us. Get is one of the most flexible and common verbs in English, and native speakers use it all the time in conversation. So today, let's get into it and take a look at 5 of the most useful ways we use get in natural, everyday English.
Welcome to another Happy English podcast coming to you from New York City. And here's your English teacher, Michael.
All right, thank you, John, and thanks, everyone. It's Michael here from Happy English, and I help people speak English better. And this is Happy English Podcast, episode 915. How to use get in 5 different ways in English. Thanks for tuning in, and welcome back. Today, I've got something really practical for you. The verb get might be small, but it's got big energy. We're going to look at 5 everyday meanings of get, and I'll show you how to use them just like a native speaker. Let's jump in. First of all, get means receive or obtain. This is probably the most basic meaning. When you get something, you receive it. It comes to you. Like last week, I ordered a new phone online and I was so happy when it finally arrived. And then I said, hey, I got a new phone. Or if someone texts you and says, did you get my message? They're asking, did you receive it? Here's another one. The other day at work, Tony said, I got an email from the boss this morning. And you can even say things like, let's get a coffee after work, which means let's go buy or pick up coffee. So yeah, anytime something is given to you or you go and grab something, get works perfectly. Now, this next one is huge. Get means become. We use get all the time when we're talking about a change in state, when something becomes different. Like yesterday afternoon, I was working on a project, and around 3 o'clock, I said, I'm getting tired. Not I became tired. No one says that. We say get, like it's getting cold out, or don't get upset, it's just a joke. I heard one of my students say last week, I think I'm getting better at listening. And I thought, exactly. That's a great way to show progress. And remember the grammar. We use get followed by an adjective when something is becoming that way. Like get sick, get hungry, get old, get excited, get nervous. The list goes on. That's why we don't use get followed by a noun to mean become. So you can say, I became a teacher, but not I got a teacher. Get only means become when it's followed by an adjective. Next up, we use get to mean begin or leave. Let's say it's Sunday afternoon and someone says, all right, time to get going. Get going means it's time to leave. Or when you're at work and your manager says, let's get started on the next task. It means let's begin. I said this the other day to my friend. Hey, we should get going if we want to catch that movie. And last weekend, when I was kind of being lazy at home, I looked at the laundry and said, okay, time to get started on this pile. So, these expressions with get are super common and a really friendly way to talk about starting or leaving. All right, let's get going to the next usage of get. We often use get instead of be in passive sentences, especially when something happens to us. So instead of saying, I was invited to a party, you can say, I got invited to a party. Same meaning, but get adds a little bit of emotion. It feels closer, more personal. Like, I got stuck in traffic for over an hour. Or, he got promoted last week. And my friend Jenny said this the other day. Can you believe it? I got chosen to lead the presentation. And I told her, nice. I hope I get chosen next time. This pattern is everywhere. Get caught, get lost, get fired, get picked, get hit, get accepted. All of these use get followed by the past participle, and they're super useful in conversation. All right, finally, we can't talk about get without looking at some phrasal verbs, and there are a lot of them. Literally, too many to talk about them all here. But we can look at some common ones, like get over. You can use get over when you recover from something, like it took me a few days to get over that cold. Or Jack said he's finally getting over that breakup with that girl he was dating. Next is get used to. Get used to is all about becoming comfortable or familiar with something new. I had a student who just moved to the US, and she said it's hard to get used to driving on the right side of the road. And I told her, yeah, but you'll get used to it in no time. It took me a few weeks to get used to driving on the left here. And how about get along? If you and someone else have a good relationship, you can say, we get along really well. Like, my roommate and I didn't get along at first, but now we're like best friends. Or, it's not easy to get along with everyone in the workplace, but you do what you can. All right, and one more, get by. That means to survive or manage, especially when you don't have much. Back in college, I didn't have much money, but I worked part-time and I got by. These are just a few of the most useful phrasal verbs with get. And since get shows up in dozens of phrasal verbs, the more you learn them, the more fluent you'll sound. Okay, let's recap. Get means receive or obtain, like I got a package from Amazon. Get followed by an adjective means become. I'm getting sleepy. Get going means leave, and get started means begin. Like, let's get going. The concert is gonna get started at 8. Get followed by a past participle shows what happens to us. Like, last week in the office, Nick got promoted. But then Kim, she got fired. And get shows up in tons of phrasal verbs. Get over, get used to, get along, get by. Trust me, once you get into these, you're going to sound more and more natural. So, here's your challenge. Try using 2 or 3 of these meanings of get this week. Talk about something that you got, something you're getting used to, or how you got started with English. And if you want to practice this kind of everyday English together, come join my Podcast Learners Study Group. We meet once a week and go over these podcast lessons in a fun, friendly group. Just check the link where you're listening to this podcast right now, or visit myhappyenglish.com and choose podcast episode 915 for more info. Hey, thanks for listening. And remember, learning another language is not easy, but it's not impossible. And I'm here to help you on your journey.
This podcast was brought to you by Happy English. Please visit myhappyenglish.com. Show your support for Happy English by leaving us a review. Get English, get happy, Happy English.